Mic test 1 2. Mic test 1 2. You got it.
All right, good evening, everyone. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone here to a work session of the Board of Trustees of Harlandale Independent School District, held today, Wednesday, April 16, 2025. It is now 6:15 p.m. Here at the Rayburn Center, 635 Rayburn Drive. And yes, Mr. Soto is right when he told us that it looks fantastic. So great setup, and I think it's a very centralized area that we could potentially look at later. So, the meeting called to order. We're gonna go ahead and do roll call and recording of board members present. Let's see, whenever the vote is ready. All right, voting is now open for roll call. We can close the vote. Do declare a quorum present. Unfortunately, we have Ms. Reese who will not be with us today, but she sends her regards and she will be here for Tuesday's meeting. Keep in mind, Tuesday is the meeting, not Monday, so don't come with us on Monday, okay? So moving on, before we go to recorded superintendent present, we do have Dr. Castleberry here, a conservator here, so welcome him. So moving on to item C, recorded superintendent staff members present, Mr. Soto.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, HISD Community. This evening, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Flores.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Operations, Dr. Hinojosa.
Here.
We have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Casey.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas.
Here.
And we have our Public Information Officer, Ms. Garza.
Here.
So moving on, I don't believe any public comment, right, Ms. Juarez? All right, so moving on to item 3, which is the board focused on student outcomes 32.5% of the time, and the March work session and regular board meeting. So, all right, decent job. I'm sure we can do more as well. So, moving on to item 4, the board will conduct a work session with the superintendent and staff. Item A, is this anyone in particular, Mr. Soto, or is this Ms. Casey? Items A through B, I guess? Okay, so then we'll go items A through B. The board will review and discuss instructional materials and technology allotment and TEAC certification from form 2025 through 2026. And the board will review and discuss the Region 20 contract to support the implementation of Blue Bond and math framework, professional learning communities, and instructional leadership support in the estimated amount of $700,000 to be funded through the LASSO 3 grant. So, Ms. Casey, if you don't mind going through the items, please.
Sure, thank you. For item A, sir, the board is asked to approve the instructional materials allotment TEAC certification form for 25-26. Per the TA Instructional Materials Division, the superintendent and school board are required to certify annually to the Board of Education and the commissioner that for each subject in the required curriculum, students have access to the instructional materials that cover all of the Texas essential knowledge and skills. The superintendent, the board secretary, or governing board officer are required to sign the form before it is accepted by TEA. The district will be unable to submit any requisitions or disbursements until the certification has been signed and submitted to TEA.
Any comments, concerns, clarification needed on that item there? No, then proceed, please, Ms. Casey.
Thank you. For item B, Harlandale has been awarded the LASSO grant. Within that grant, there are several different programs and grants that we will follow. So we have the Instructional Leadership Grant, the Strong Foundations Implementation Grant, School Improvement PLC supports, and Strong Foundations Planning. It's a total of 4. The instructional leadership and PLC components will specifically target campuses that have been identified for improvement, providing assistance where it's most needed. Bluebonnet curriculum implementation will benefit all of our elementary schools, and they will receive support from a product advisor on a consultation basis. Additionally, the Strong Foundations Planning Initiative will focus on strengthening our K-12 math curriculum framework, which is what we did this year with reading. Under LASSO 3, Harlandale is required to partner with a vetted provider, and we must allocate a minimum of 50% of the grant funds. The proposed estimated $700,000 contract with Region 20 will fulfill this requirement and provide supports for our district improvement goals for these initiatives.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification related to this agenda item? No? Mr. Soto?
Trustees, just to give you some background on that LASSO grant, they had several entries. Thousands of districts had applied for this grant, and Harlem was fortunate to be one of the recipients. So thank you, everyone that participated in putting that grant together and for us receiving this award that's going to help our students be successful in the classroom.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I ju-
Ms. Ortiz.
Yes, so it was a grant application through TEA. Thank you.
Any further comment, concerns, or clarification needed? All right, moving on to item C, the board of review and discuss investment reports. So, or excuse me, Mr. Soto, are those the next couple would be for?
Yes, Mr. Chair, all the way to letter G will be Mr. Flores.
Okay, so we'll go item C through G. The board will review and discuss investment reports for quarter ending March 31st, 2025. The board will review and discuss budget report for quarter ending March 31st, 2025. The board will review and discuss RFP 250807 for banking depository services. Item F, the board will review and discuss written instruments stating that the board has reviewed the investment policy and investment strategies in accordance with the board policy CDA. And G, the board will review and discuss a list of qualified brokers and investment pools to be authorized to engage in investment transactions with the district in accordance with the board policy CDA. Mr. Flores, please.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Soto, Superintendent of Schools. Item C is to discuss the investment reports for quarter ending March 31st, 2025. Page 7 of your board book has the investment report summary for your review, and page 8 through 10 has the actual investment report. The changes in the various funds are explained as follows. The general fund realized a decrease of $2,497,711. During the third quarter, the district received TEA payments per the payment schedule, in addition to the collection of local tax revenue, and this also reflects interest earnings of $775,349. The general facilities or bond 2022 showed a decrease of $2,372,622 due to the continued progress of projects across the district. The fund did realize interest earnings of $351,688 during this quarter. Health insurance fund continues to fluctuate based on the payments issued for services rendered to staff. The overall change this quarter reflected an increase of $467,348. Our settlement fund did not see activity except for interest income on the overall balance of $77,354.74. The stadium bond fund for 2022, similar to the settlement fund, saw interest income on the overall balance of $20,903. The Facilities Assessment Fund had a net decrease from the prior quarter of $87,061. The fund holds maintenance tax notes proceeds and continues to be utilized for construction and allowable renovations. Any questions regarding those funds or the summary? Overall, the quarter, the interest earned for all funds was $1,403,597.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed with this item? No? Please proceed, Mr. Flores.
Page 11 has the budget report for quarter ended March 31st, 2025. The general fund budget report for the quarter noting total budgeted revenues of $129,476,770 and expenditures budgeted at $140,345,785. Resulting in a deficit of $10,869,015. However, we have currently received, due to date, as of March 31st, we've received $94,557,872 in revenues, and we've expensed $92,694,866. That is for the general fund. On our debt service fund, we have revenues of $8,920,272 and expenses of $10,649,575. And for our debt service fund, we have collected revenues totaling $16,614,477 and expenditures at $15,921,501.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed with this item? No? All right, please proceed, sir.
Item E, page 16 of your board book. Consider and take appropriate action on the request to award RFP 250807 for bank depository services. The district's current depository contract with Wells Fargo Bank will end on June 30th, 2025. Since the district is on its third and final 2-year extension, it must solicit for banking and depository services. The district has 4 operating accounts, 1 debt service account, 3 construction accounts, and 18 campus accounts. Along with managing these accounts, the district also performs direct transmittals for such items as direct payments from the state, local Bexar County tax office, direct ACH or wire transfers from other funding agencies, and the district's direct payroll deposit and payment system. RFP 250807 for depository services followed the following timeline. On February 10th, we advertised and released the RFP through the Heartbeat and Bonfire. On the 19th, a second newspaper advertisement was made. February 21st was the deadline for questions and clarifications from interested vendors. And on the 28th, all the responses were given to questions provided to unknown interested vendors. The bids for the RFP were to close March 7th of 2025. Through Bonfire, the procurement portal, the advertisement reached 70 registered vendors for banking services, of which 19 viewed the RFP, and we received 3 responses by the due date of March 7th. The responses included Wells Fargo Bank, Lone Star National Bank, and Plains Capital Bank. A finance committee met to review the proposals and carefully evaluated each banking institution to ensure the recommended institution met or exceeded the needs of the district. After careful consideration, reference reviews, and a clear understanding of the district's needs, the administrations recommend awarding RFP 250807 for banking depository services to Lone Star National Bank for the initial 2-year term and opportunity to renew for an additional 3 years as allowed by the Texas Education Agency if the district and the banking institution are both in agreement.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification related to this item?
I have a question, really
Yes,
quick.
Ms. Ortiz.
Lone Star National Bank is located in the Harlandale Independent School District, or
It-
does it have banking services in Harlandale?
It is.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is located on Zarzamora, so right outside our boundaries.
Thank you.
Any further comments, concerns, clarification? Ms. Cavazos? Were you? Okay. All right, well then we'll proceed, sir.
Okay. Item F, the board will review and discuss written instruments stating that the board has reviewed the investment policies. In accordance with board policy CDA legal, the board must annually adopt a written instrument stating that it has been presented for the review, the district's investment policy and investment strategies. In meeting this requirement, staff has included both board policy CDA legal and local, which delineates the district's current investment policy and investment strategies. There have been no changes to these policies that the board reviewed and approved last year. So staff recommends the board approve this transmittal as the written instrument, and it has reviewed the investments policy and investment strategies of the district. So this is just an annual renewal.
Yes, sir. Can proceed to the next.
The next item is review and discuss the list of qualified brokers. In accordance with board policy CDA legal, the board shall annually review, revise, and adopt a list of qualified brokers and organizations that are authorized to engage in investment transactions with the district based on Government Code 2256.025. In conjunction under CDA local policy, the qualified brokers business organizations shall meet the following. They must execute a written instrument that the broker/business organization has received and reviewed the district investment policy and has procedures and controls in place to preclude investments not authorized by the district policy. Be registered with the Texas State Securities Board and must have membership in the Securities Investor Protection Corporation and be in good standing with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Additionally, the authorized investment pools through prior board resolution are also included as reassurance that they continue to meet the requirements of Government Code 2256.016, thus permitting the investment of district funds in those particular pools. The recommendation is to approve the list of brokers and investment pools that have met the requirements and to have on and or will serve the district with competitive investment rates and opportunities. Staff recommends these firms for approval for 1 year as the qualified brokers and investment pools to engage in investment transactions with the district. and the list is provided for your review.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification related to this item? No? Well, then we could proceed. Moving on to item H, the board will review and discuss RFCP 250808 HISD McCollum High School entry project for FA Nunnally Company, DBA Nunnally General Contractor for estimated cost 2.9 million. This is a one-time purchase with the funding from the HISD Bond 2022 program. Mr. Soto?
Yes, Board of Trustees, at this time, Dr. Hinojosa is going to turn it over to Mr. Salinas. Mr. Salinas is working on his superintendent certification, so this is part of his assignments. So grill him away.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Soto, and members of the board. Presenting this info today for approval at Tuesday's board meeting. RFCSP 250808 was submitted on Bonfire on March 19th, and it closed on April 8th. 4 vendors responded, and after the evaluation process, FA Nunnally met all the requirements for the project. The administration is recommending approval on Tuesday's board meeting of FA Nunnally Company for an estimated cost of $2.9 million.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
specifically, the project at McCollum High School is,
It's the front entrance, the redoing of the rebuilding of the front entrance at McCollum High School.
thank you.
Okay. Next item, administration will be recommending Dynamic Systems Inc. for approval at Tuesday's board meeting. Dynamic Systems Inc. was procured through Choice Partners contract. Our foreman, the chiller at Harlandale High School cafeteria was evaluated by an HISD foreman, and it was determined that the components were outdated, circuits failed, and the 20-year-old chiller needed constant repair. Our foreman procured multiple quotes, and after multiple review of the quotes, the cost will be about $295,000. The quote met all district requirements, and administration is recommending approval at Tuesday's board meeting of Dynamic Systems Inc. for $295,000.
All right, any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Ortiz?
do we have any kind of warranty on this? How long is it? And how long was the chiller that was there in use?
It's a great question, man. So the chiller that was in place at Harlan High School is over 20 years old. And so in terms of the new equipment that's coming in, they'll all come in with a standard warranty for any parts or labor for a full calendar year after installation.
Mr. Chair. So it was through the good skill of our Harlandale ISD that they kept that chiller going for 20 years? Is that what, or am I assuming too much? That the great skill of our employees were the ones that kept us nice and cool?
Yes, ma'am. So exactly right with that one and with other of our chillers, when they go down, we're fortunate that we have a great team, HVAC team. And one that we'll work on recognizing as well next week at the board meeting, which will be our HVAC foreman. But they work tirelessly. And in fact, tonight when we were having the issues, he showed up himself to make sure that he could address it. So, but it is, will take parts, they'll do what they can to fix them as quickly as they can. This one was just at a point where it was beyond repair.
Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns, clarification with this item? All right, we could, I guess, proceed, sir.
Okay, the next item is administration will be recommending for approval a final payment to Architecture SA Inc. for services associated with our HISD Career and Technology Education Building Project in the amount of $1,856. The construction of the final payment has been processed, and the punch list and walkthroughs are all complete. Just an FYI, the original budget for the project was $5 million. The total cost came in at $3.4 million. Administration is recommending approval at Tuesday's board meeting for the final payment to be made to Architecture SA Inc.
All right, any comments, concerns, clarification with this item? Ms.
Yes,
Cavazos?
Mr. Chair, yes. Mr. Soto, if I may address either Mr. Salinas or Dr. Hinojosa, and I know you said it, but because we are talking about our taxpayer money, since this was for, paid for with bond money. I always like for it to be out there on the record, on a video, twice, 3 times, 500 times. This project came in within the time they said it was gonna be completed. We did not, shortchange any of our, students. And by that, I mean, it came under budget. We got good quality work from a respectable, company, because we are being accountable and transparent with our community's, money. I just want you to confirm or deny what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am. Those are all great points. You can confirm every single one of them. It was quality work. The architect, which we're requesting final payment for, continued to oversee the project, kept us informed on everything, and all that was promised with the bond project for the CT building to provide those programs for our students were put in place, and they're fully functional at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate the confirmation on that.
All right. Any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed with this item?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
You know, Board of Trustees, change is a very difficult thing for a lot of human beings, right? And our community had to adjust and adapt to the change that is happening here at Harlandale with enrollment, right? And so that building, that CTE building was a big change. You know, we had to close the school, we had to repurpose it, and I believe it's going to benefit the children from Harlandale for many, many years to come as we did a walkthrough on that building. As you look at the building that we're in right now, this is another repurposed campus. And as you can see, we do a lot of technology training in this area, but then also on the other side is our police department. So that being said, there's still change that is occurring here at Harlandale. And so we cannot lose that foresight. And we're going to be having more discussions about those changes that we need to take on as a district so it can thrive.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cavazos?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Soto, and I'm going to add a little something to what you said because you failed to say it. But every single change that we make, the decisions that we have to make, some harder ones than others, this board remains focused on making sure that any change is for the success of our students. We take nothing for granted as far as their education, and every difficult decision that we have made is only to impact and empower our students' education for even brighter opportunities. So I wanted to add that to your comment, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Chair,
Yes, Mr. Luna?
yes, I'd like to address this issue as well. Like, we just came from our opening of our city-sponsored park, along with the numerous people throughout the city of San Antonio that helped us get this doing. So we were fortunate to get these grants, fortunate to get these associations with these groups so that we can have facilities like Ms. Cavazos says. And I was telling some of those folks that it's going to really benefit our kids. It's going to change their future. It's going to change their lives. The girl the latest in charge of the foundation says one day she was given a basketball from some group, and that basketball changed her life forever. She became a star. And so things like this are happening in Harlandale. I'm so proud to be here. I just wish we would promote it more because I ran into some of my former parents, kids' parents, and they seem to not know all the benefits that are going on here in Harlandale. I talked to her about the CTE program. I talked to her about our softball games, and I talked to her about that our stadium's finished and that we're gonna upgrade the baseball fields. All this is done also because the community came out and voted for a bond. And I got to express thanks for that because there are other districts in this area that were not fortunate to pass their bond. And they're really suffering about having great facilities for their students. So I'm very excited and happy to be part of what's going on. And thank you so much, Mr. Soto, for your work and the staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments, concerns, or clarifications needed with this item? All right. We'll proceed to the next item, which is item K. The board will review and discuss the purchase of 600 of the 75-inch ViewSonic interactive displays for installation in all classrooms district-wide from Intech Southwest LSLC under R20 contract numbers 2300022 at a cost of 7,800. The funding is in the district general operation budget and bond 2022 funds. Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir. Ms. Martinez is already up.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Superintendent Soto. At the March 24th board meeting, we had the opportunity to watch teachers and students from all levels, elementary, middle, and high school, demonstrate lesson plans and share how they use the ViewSonic interactive boards in their classroom. It was clear that these boards encourage collaboration among students and teachers. We learned that these interactive displays enable teachers to build dynamic lessons, import engaging content, and share lessons with their students. The boards modernize the classrooms into an immersive learning environment, energizing and motivating students to make learning fun. In December of 2024, this board approved the district's adoption of the Bluebonnet curriculum. It's important to note that in order to enhance classroom implementation of the Bluebonnet learning instructional materials, the Texas Education Agency will provide fully editable slide decks for every lesson starting in the 2025-2026 school year. These are intended to be used with ViewSonic's MyViewBoard software, which is built into the boards that we're recommending. If approved, our initial rollout will ensure that all elementary and secondary core content classrooms and teachers have the board in place and ready for use by the start of the new school year. Proposals for RFP number 250810 for the purchase of 600 75-inch ViewSonic interactive boards were opened on March the 7th. We had 11 vendors respond. Upon reviewing the bids, Intech Southwest provided the best value and the lowest price to the district. Staff therefore recommends that the purchase of the 600 ViewSonic interactive displays for use in the classrooms district-wide be purchased from Intech Southwest at a district cost of $1,567,800. The purchase will be made under contract number 23022 as part of the Region 20 Cooperative. Funding is from the general operating budget for technology support and bond 2022 funds.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item?
Just quick visual.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they as big as these?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And this is what size?
These are actually, I take it back. They're a little bit smaller. These are 85. The ones that we're recommending are 75. So what you'll lose is the dark around the white. So they're as big as what you see the white.
Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns, clarification? And again, guys, just echoing what we said earlier, this is an immersive technological advancement for our district, and this is what innovation is, and this is how we utilize and maximize our dollars for our kids. And thank you to Superintendent Soto and his team for making sure that we have access to these monies. So kudos to you guys. If no further comments, concerns, clarification needed, we'll move on to item 11. So thank you, Ms. Martinez. The board will review and discuss IFB 250806, beef and pork products to Braun Beef Company for an estimated amount of $53,300 to be funded from the district self-funded workers' compensation fund. Mr. Soto, or Ms. Hubbard?
Yes, a very popular self-attendance, safety attendance. Ms. Hubbard?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Since the inception of the District Safety and Attendance Incentive Program in 1997, the workers' compensation claims and expenses have continued to decrease significantly. The program rewards employees for their attendance as well as their commitment to safety awareness and practices throughout the year. In addition to full-time employee eligibility, long-term substitutes are also eligible for the incentive. The district solicited bids for the purchase of beef and pork products. The IFB 250806 included delivery of the items to the district warehouse in a refrigerated truck to be used throughout the day of distribution. After posting a notice of intent in the Heartbeat and inviting 34 vendors on the district's online procurement portal to review the IFB requirements and offer quotes, one vendor responded. The district will solicit quotes for the purchase of produce products since this commodity is volatile and prices fluctuate. The recommendation, in conjunction with the Human Resources Department, staff recommends that IFB 250806 for the purchase of beef and pork products be awarded to Braun Beef Company for a total amount of approximately $53,300. The purchase of these commodities will be funded through the district's self-funded workers' compensation program.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? No? Well, I know it's something that's well received and everyone looks forward to it. So hopefully it continues to support and ensure that our people and our staff are safe. Anything further on this item, Mr. Soto? No. All right, then we'll proceed to the next item. So item 5, which is discussion regarding possible revisions to the board operating procedures and amending naming of district facilities policy, CW local. Mr. Resendez, I know you have some items that you were going to share with us.
Yes, Mr. Board President, Mr. Superintendent, board members. Ms. Juarez is handing out just another district's kind of sample policy that's a little bit more detailed in terms of naming facilities. And I've been talking to your superintendent, board president, board members about other samples. This particular district names facilities a lot. So it kind of has some structure, not that I'm recommending we do this at all, but I thought it'd be some talking points. My recollection from, and you'll notice the theme of, in all of these, you know, how they name high schools, middle school, elementaries, other facilities. At the end of the day, they're looking for going back to the community or that little area where that school is or that middle school and getting feedback from the community. So that's, I think, what my understanding was part of the theme of this board's kind of thoughts in terms of revising our policy to make sure there's something in place to have some criteria in terms of who we're nominating and when and how and why, and then that it's getting some feedback from that community's population to make sure everybody's on the same page. So this is just some talking points. There are other districts that have policies, but they're not as, this one, because this particular district does name facilities often. The other districts that I saw, you know, as we know in this area, in most districts, you know, that doesn't come up very often. So there wasn't much CW policies that weren't, you know, really beefed up like this particular district, just in terms of some ideas. So, Mr. Chair, that's what we have. As we recall, our district allows the community to do some driven, and it has some structure in it, or the administration or board can bring it directly. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that just going forward, obviously, based on the history that we have here, it's maybe not a common theme for us to go forward and name facilities, but at the same time, we want to provide guidance for those that may come after us, because obviously our district will be here after us, and we want to set some parameters that in the event that we do get the feedback from our community, we're able to give them a thorough understanding, because I know we ran into this issue back when we were looking at naming a building. And I think this gives, and just looking at it, I think that would have given them some more ideas on how to proceed and how to provide the information that would definitely, you know, support the consideration of naming a particular facility or a building or an area of district property. So I think this is definitely something we can use as a template. Doesn't necessarily need to be driven exactly the same, but it's something for us as a team to heavily consider in order to put those parameters in place to support, you know, listening to our community, but also understanding that sometimes, you know, giving specific instructions and overview will allow the community to provide more input, and also in collaboration with us as a team of 7 and obviously 8 with our superintendent. So, and are there any comments, concerns, clarification? Obviously, I'm not saying we're not voting right now, but it's something for us to chew on for the next couple of days coming to next Tuesday's meeting, potentially to vote on the item and to move forward with it.
I'm only going to say one thing, and it.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President. So it has elementary school naming process, middle school naming process, and high school naming process. And I haven't been here a long time, but there's only been one opportunity to name a facility, and it was not a middle school, elementary, or high school. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr.
But you
Board
can
President.
note on the back page, you do have other processes there listed. So if you want to peruse through, you can see specific. Yeah, But again, we're not voting on the item, so it's not, this is just a discussion.
Right.
So it's not anything to preclude or, you know, keep any other options open. But the information is there for us, and the focus is on the number of options to help facilitate, whether it be in elementary, middle school, high school, but also the actual naming of specific buildings, facilities, because that's where we were running into some hiccups, is how do we handle these situations? And I think it's only fair for us as a team to have that in place. Dr. Casper, did you want to share?
I wonder if there are procedures that support this policy that might help us determining just how you get the community input.
We can see if there's any regulations that any districts have. That's a good question. I didn't see any specifically, you know, attached to the policy when I looked at some districts, but I could find out. I mean, that is a good point. But Mr. Chair, as you mentioned here, Harlandale, you know, again, this isn't meant to like, we're recommending it at all. The idea is that there's some thought behind when they do name a facility, you know, what's the thought behind it. And here, obviously there is, like you said on page 2 of that, you know, naming an existing school. Well, the key there is to seek feedback from the impacted school community. And I think that was part of it. And then when we do have new facilities, kind of making sure the same thing, that we get, you know, feedback from the community. So that was my only thought about this one, and it had some guidelines. But I can check, Dr. Castleberry, if there's any regulations that specifically, okay, how do they actually go about doing this? I could find out, and I could bring that.
And I did forget to preface it. We do have an item to convene in closed session if there's any legal questions or anything related to legalities. So we can discuss in a closed session as well, Mr. President. So I forgot to preface that.
Sure, we can definitely announce under 551071 if there's any legal questions when we go into closed session for this item. Yes, we could do that.
We don't necessarily need to.
Yeah.
Ms. Cavazos?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. My thoughts on this is, as always, having something outlined with everyone is input is always a plus, because we get to see the different vantage points that we ourselves may not see on our own. So kudos to that. Second, we are building a lot of things here in Harlandale because we were fortunate enough for our community to approve and vote for the bond. So it's not one building or two, it's going to be tennis courts and softball fields and you know, the list goes on as far as what new things, bigger and better things we're bringing to our students here in Harlandale ISD. And for the families, because as a family member, we enjoy the games just as much as those athletes are, you know, giving their heart out in the fields. I think consistency is key on everything. And although we may not be perfect at implementing certain things, I think as long as we have input and we are concise at what the end result should be and the reasons why, this will come in very handy, like you said, Mr. President, when we are no longer the trustee sitting on the board, but it's the next generations of our students who will be sitting at this dais that can push the envelope forward when it comes to this. So I'm all for consistency, input, but more so to listen to everybody's point of view and vantage point before we put it down to pen and paper. So thank you.
I don't know, Ms. Salazar, did you have something you wanted to share?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I like that this is going to give us something to be able to start and to be able to reflect on how we can improve our board operating procedures in reference to naming facilities. And because I know that we have mentioned that there's going to be a lot of change that has already happened at Harlandale ISD, and it's going to continue to happen. So having something very transparent that's really going to really encourage the community to really come out and have their voice heard is going to be important whenever we're naming facilities. So I think this is a great start for us as a board. Thank you.
Mr. Mancha,
Mr.
would you
Chair.
like to share something, sir?
Just to remind all of us, there is a policy already out there. So did we bring a copy of that policy? We could have shared it especially with Ms. Salazar that wasn't familiar with it.
Oh,
That way she can understand that we already had something.
we can get that to everybody.
That
That's a
also
good point.
included
Yeah.
the community and other people involved.
Absolutely.
So
We
it's
could-
not like we've never done it before.
Yeah.
We did have a policy.
We do have a policy, absolutely. Just,
Thank you.
our
Yeah.
policy is a little different, but we wanted to look at others. But yes, we'll get that to everybody for sure.
Yeah,
To compare it.
and thank you for that reminder there, sir, because and again, the problem is we just, or the situation is we do want to find a way to also put it on a collaboration amongst community, and that's the one piece when we as board members have the opportunity to at any point bring it up to the forum, and we still wanted to have an opportunity to give community the opportunity to know what the process would be to nominate someone, or to what qualities or what expectations they should know, what the criteria is for selecting, because I think that's some of the stuff that we didn't have specifically in that policy. And I think that's definitely something that would benefit us as a community as a whole, so that people are aware that it at any point, we're not just picking names out of a hat. We're doing our due diligence in supporting their needs and wants, as well as the expectation of naming it after someone that definitely deserves it if we go that route. So that's something that we'll definitely make sure that we have available to us on Tuesday as well, for us to make sure all that information is out there for everyone to see, especially our colleagues here, so that we can make a sound decision if we want to proceed with something or if we don't, and that's okay. Anything further, or any other comments or concerns or clarification needed related to this item? And I think on Tuesday, we can maybe go more into detail about, since Ms. Reese isn't here, into the background behind it as well. Ms. Salazar?
Mr. Chair, yes, I just wanted to say, I am aware of the board operating procedures. I attended the training whenever we did visit the board operating procedures. So I know that there is something already in place, but I do like that we're going to go back and look at something and see how we can refine something that's already in place. So I know that we're going to still digest this a little bit more and decide what we're going to do. Thank you.
Mr. Resendez?
Yes, sir. So just for clarification, so I'll bring our policy for Monday. The input I'm hearing is, we want to make sure we're consistent and fair with whatever process we do have, and that we get community input. So with those two themes, we can kind of put something together just for you guys to consider. And then that way you have something to consider, your current policy, and then y'all can decide what you want to do. Okay.
And I think a lot of it too, and I think I've shared this with Mr. Resendez, it's
Tuesday's meeting, that's right.
Yeah, sometimes, excuse me, sometimes when things happen, like I kind of equated it to like a basketball analogy. Sometimes you have a player that's hurt the whole year, and somehow they still get selected for an all-star game. And you're like, whoa, how did this happen? But it's a popularity contest. So in this sense, we still want to put some parameters in place, because, the community can still select something or decide later on in the future, hey, we want to name such and such campus after, a pop culture figure or something, and you're just like, whoa, that isn't, that doesn't relate to anything that we have here in our district. So those are things that we still want to also take into consideration, because it's still going to be the decision of the team here based on what route is taken, whether it's community led or it's board led. And that's where it's still going to have those parameters aligned with that. And it's still going to be either led by community or led by the team of 7 here. Okay.
So,
Yes,
so
sir.
Mr. Morone, you just want to also make sure there's an element that has like criteria that's directly related to the district. Like, what have they done for the district? How are they known for the district? Not just some random person. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Exactly, because that's the thing that they can definitely open up a can of worms with that. For
Okay, thank you.
I guess if no one has anything further related to that,
Ms. Salazar, did you have your hand up? I'm so sorry.
oh, for
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
no, that's good. Moving on, and then to item 6, individual items. And this is gonna be a fantastic thing. So discussion and possible action regarding approval of resolution nominating Mr. Gerardo Soto, Superintendent of Schools, for the Texas Association of School Boards Superintendent of the Year Award. Before we start going and saying congratulations on us moving forward with it, I'd like to just go ahead and make the motion now. So I move that we approve the resolution nominating, in which Ms. Suarez is passing out a physical copy. Mr. Gerardo Soto, Superintendent of Schools, for the Texas Association of School Board Superintendent of the Year Award, as presented and authorized the board president to finalize and submit the application accordingly. So I have a motion. Would anyone like to second?
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
All right, we have a second by Ms. Cavazos.
Mr. Board President,
Yes, sir.
real quick, just for clarification, the resolution, the draft resolution is in your board packet. What Ms. Juarez is passing out is just, I wanted y'all to see
The application.
the
all right.
application and criteria, so that way everybody knows. And then once this passes, I want to share a few things in terms of the process.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So any comments, concerns, or clarification before we proceed with the vote? Or would we like to wait for after the vote?
Who seconded, sir?
Ms. Cavazos.
Ms. Cavazos, okay. For the minutes, thank you, sir.
All right, we'll
I-
go.
I-
Yes,
If
Dr.
I may, I
Casper,
have a
sorry.
question. The statement that begins, Mr. Soto, under Mr. Soto's leadership, HISD has made significant strides, lists specific achievements. That seems to be an instruction to somebody that's writing it as opposed to providing the information. Is this intended as a draft or the final version?
So thank you for that, Dr. Castleberry. And so that list of achievements is something that we need to talk about today. And actually, Mr. Moreno did email me some ideas of accomplishments that we were going to use, and also his accomplishments from his evaluation that Mr. Soto has shared. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because this draft, we kind of took it from what Region 20 provided, but we just made it kind of fit. And so we do need, so if right now we can talk about a few of those things that, and you know, some things, just so you know, the success in the repurposing and communicating with the district, the passing of the bond election, the balancing of the budget and dealing with those dynamics, just the improvement in community communication and involvement. So those are just a few of the things off the top of my list that Mr. Moreno I talked about, but I'm glad you said that. So, but we do want to get it approved today because the deadline is Friday. So, the things that I listed, we're going to include, but then I'd like to hear from everyone else, right? You know, now, so we can fill it in if there's any other specific lists. Otherwise, we'll proceed with allowing the guidance that we have from his evaluation and the successes that we've used. So good catch. I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Casper, because that's exactly right.
Well, I think successfully repurposing schools and in that process, expanding and enhancing programs for students, that was handled very well. And, you know, I think that needs to be spelled out. I probably shouldn't be coaching you on this. Forget that.
No, but well, the input from the board and everyone here, it's a team effort, and that's the important thing.
No, certainly. So we definitely welcome any highlights, any you know, specific glows that we want to share. You know, there's things that I definitely forget. So I know I shared some things with Mr. Resendez, but if there's any specific things that you'd like for us to include, I mean, there's definitely time now, or I'm sure at some point before Friday, we can have that added in. Ms. Cavazos, did you want to say something?
Yes, Mr. Chair, because there's so much that Mr. Soto and his staff have, yes, I was gonna ask, can we have, let me see, today's Wednesday, can we have by the end of business day tomorrow, maybe early evening, to email any suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Only because I can think of a few, but and I'm not saying everything I email you all, that's what I want on there, but I would like for it to be considered to be added. And I just don't want to make the assumption of, oh, I know they'll remember that.
Absolutely. yeah,
So
that's
is
fine.
that any, because, you know, right now I'm like, man, I can think of a handful, but that's a handful of a lot of a very long list, which is a good thing. It's a good thing we have a very long list of things that Mr. Soto and his staff have accomplished. So can we have until the end of business day tomorrow, or you know, no later than 7 p.m. or something? I mean, I don't know what the time crunch is. I know you all have a deadline of Friday, but is it Friday by noon? Is it Friday by 8 a.m.?
Friday by end of business day. So if we can get it by tomorrow, by the end of the day. And the main purpose of the resolution is just to nominate him. The accolades are also part of his resume, and that's the other part that we handed out, part of the application process. Mr. Moreno and I have been, or I'm working on a letter that Mr. Moreno has given me talking points that it has to come from the board president, a letter of recommendation for the award. And in that letter is going to have all those ideas, all those things as well. So this is just to highlight the main things, the big pictures, but not a whole, list of, this is really just part of the thing. They need to check off the box that the board passed a resolution to nominate him. Does that make sense?
Mr. Chair.
And this is a resolution that they want passed. So.
I'm sorry. And yes, I'm not gonna go and copy and paste that humongous list that we have, but I want to look at the list because there are certain things
Absolutely.
that are near and close to my heart as far as being so proud of the accomplishment that we've been able to do with Mr. Soto guiding us to that I just want to say, these are the ones that I feel are important. Doesn't mean you need to take those into consideration. If you all look at them, and I'm sure everybody else will say, oh, you know what, that one's a good one. That is something important, off the top of my head, educational partners.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Little things like that. I just want to have opportunity to pinpoint a few. I'm not going to copy and paste the whole list, obviously, even though I would want to do that. But if you can give me until the end of business day tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anybody,
I
and if
can-
you send it to us, we're going to include it because it's going to be positive. And if it's duplicates, we'll just narrow it
Okay.
down. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
that's what I was going to ask, if we could see what the list is, because on his evaluation, it was pages of accomplishments. And so if we could see what the list is so that we won't duplicate efforts. And so that may make your job a little bit easier if we all are in agreement that what it is, or
So-
if there's something. I'm just saying that if we could at least see the list.
Sure, we could remind you, but we're not going to be emailing each other, not a walking forum. You're just sending it directly to me, and then I'm finalizing it with your board president. And that's kind of the plan. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Yes, sir.
Just a
Mr.
few
Mc-
things I can mention publicly because I don't like to promote it so much as, like just today, our event today, it was a national, we recognized national by NAACP, NACA, the committee, the Final Four committee that we were selected for this project. There are very few, far between, only how many have been selected in the whole state of Texas. So let alone, that's very good. That's a national recognition. And then also just having, I forgot the other event we did, but those kinds of things that people will seem like we are really doing good business here in the South Side of San Antonio. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr.
All right, any other, comments and stuff, or comments, clarifications needed before we move forward? Mr. Soto, you wanted to share something before we proceed, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, I'm honored. And as we know, might have my name on it, but this is going to be a district race for us, right? This could be a district accomplishment with not just a team of 8, but for the whole Harlandale ISD. So wish us luck, many prayers, and thank you for all your support. We've done a lot of things. The Ed Partners, I don't believe there's one in Bexar County, Dr. Salinas, that's doing Ed Partners. Our self-funded insurance that we're giving our employees, that insurance, the next level. Not many districts have that next level prime where our blue collar workers can afford healthcare. They can go to an urgent care facility for free. They pay $30 a month, and that makes insurance very affordable for our blue collar workers. I mean, not many districts have that partnership. So as you noted, we've done a lot, and this might have my name, as I said, but it's for all of us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And just from there, you can go from DOI to House Bill 1, visa, all that stuff. So I'm sure all those things are things that we are well aware of. So hopefully, we are able to see some results that go in our favor and showcase Mr. Soto, because it is, as you mentioned, sir, a team effort, and we appreciate you being so humble enough to include us in all the great work that you do. So are there any other comments, concerns, or clarification before we proceed with the vote? All right, well, we'll open up the vote, and hopefully everyone agrees. Close the vote. And I'm sure had Ms. Reese would be here, she would have voted again with it as well. So congratulations, sir. All right, proceeding on to item B, which is consider and take appropriate action on the order of cancellation of election for single member District 1 and single member District 3. So for the lucky few, Mr. Resendez, I think, you want to
Yes.
provide a little guidance before we proceed with the motion?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, Mr. Flores has been doing all the work, really, the heavy lifting behind the scenes. But legally, since there were no opponents for two of your candidates, by law, we're canceling the election and declaring that they're going to be the winners. Of course, they'll be sworn in May or June when we canvass. But Mr. Flores, you have the resolution or the order canceling the election?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, members of the board approved on January 21st, the board approved the order calling for an election for Harlem ISD board members in single-member districts 1, 2, 3, and 4, as recommended by administration. The candidates interested in running for school board had the opportunity to file within the single-member district for which they represent from January 15th to February 14th of 2025. The district received applications for a place on the ballot for all 4 single-member districts, with single-member District 1 and single-member District 3 running unopposed. So at this time, in accordance with Election Code 2.053, administration recommends that the Harlandale Board of Trustees approve an order to cancel the election for single-member District 1 and single-member District 3, being that they are unopposed, and declare these unopposed candidates elected. Now, like Mr. Resendez just mentioned, the candidates that are unopposed will actually get sworn in at the same time that when the election gets canvassed, the votes get canvassed. But this order canceling the election would stand.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I have?
Yes, sir.
Oh, just to clarify, because they're single member districts, their names aren't going to be on the ballot. If we were all at large, then their names would be on the ballot if they had certain places. But also this order has to be, that's why we got to pass it today, because early voting starts, and this has to be at the election sites. So notice to the community that, wait a minute, y'all called an election for 4 seats and there's only 2 on the ballot. What's going on? And then they'll know that legally we have to give notice. So thank you all.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve an order to cancel the election for single-member District 1 and single-member District 3, being that they are unopposed, and declare these unopposed candidates elected. So the motion is on the floor. Do we have a second for the motion?
Chair, I'll second.
Second by Mr. Luna. Any comments, concerns, or clarification beforehand? No? We'll go ahead and call for the vote, please. And this should be unanimous too, I hope. All right, we can close the vote. And again, I'm sure if Ms. Reese was here, she would have done the same. So congratulations, Mr. Mancha and Mr. Luna. We'll make it more official in May, so I'll definitely get your due. Moving forward, number 7 is only related to item 5, and we'll revisit that again next Tuesday if necessary. So we're gonna go ahead and move for adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
We're not going into, oh.
No,
okay.
that was gonna be for Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, only if necessary for item 5. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I
Ms.
move that we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chair, I second.
Right, second to adjourn by Ms. Salazar. Let's go ahead and call for the vote. All right, motion or voting is open. All right, Mr. Mancho, sorry. It's all right, sir. All right, we can go ahead and close the vote. Oh, Mr. Luna still wanted to revel in the victory. But motion carries. It is now 7:14. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy and safe Easter holiday, and hope we'll see everyone next Tuesday. Thank you so much.